Hi, Shannon Grimm with Shannon Grimm and Partners, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Today I'm joined, as always, by Michael Stanley, because he's the only one I can con into doing this every episode, and by Jake Brenneman. And then we're also joined by Ryan Sagraves. Sorry, we just had this conversation, too.
We made it more confusing by going over the spelling a bunch of different ways.
Yes. Ryan is the owner of THI Handyman. And he does a lot of different handyman services, and we're going to see today what all he does. So what is the favorite project you've done?
Favorite project? Well, first off, thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys. It's always fun hanging out with your team. Favorite project, it's hard to say. We've been on so many of them. I'll tell you one thing I'm really excited about right now is actually I've got a guy coming over with a 1973 Airstream. He's going to drop off at my house on Friday. We're going to tear it out all the way down to the studs and rebuild it. So that's
very cool.
That
sounds like
really
a fun project.
It,
yeah. Well, everyone always raves about the work that you do. So I haven't heard anything remotely negative about what you do. So you seem to have your act together and everything and know what you're doing. And also, I like the fact that when you think it's a project that's too big or something that you don't really specialize in, you're willing to pass that off to someone else and not get in over your head doing it. So
I think that's the key to our success. Especially we're a small business. It's me and one other guy. He's my brother-in-law. We stay pretty darn busy. But I think honesty is the number one thing. We just got to let everybody know, like, this is what we can handle.
Right.
This is what we should not touch. We're mostly limited by a couple small things like electrical licensing and plumbing. We can still do quite a bit of electrical help, swapping out outlets or, change a ceiling fan or something like that. And plumbing, we're really not limited too much in plumbing. But here in Ohio, a handyman really does not require any type of specific licensing for most jobs. We can do pretty much any type of bathroom remodel, kitchen remodels, any type of flooring projects, windows and doors. I usually tell everybody anything under the roof.
Okay,
cool. we can probably help with it.
Well, and we enjoy working with vendors who are honest and upfront about things. So the worst thing for us is when we refer a vendor and the vendor does get in over their head. And then it's kind of hard for them to get back out of that, and it makes us all look bad. So we like the fact that you know your limitations, whatever they may be, and you're like, no, I'm good. So we appreciate that.
That goalpost changes all the time.
Yep.
We're learning. We've been in business about 5 years now. We're just still trying to get a hold of people. Ask me constantly, well, what's your favorite thing to do? And we don't really have that nailed down. What we like to do is solve problems. Whatever that may be. If you've got an issue in your home, you need some home repairs, we could probably help.
Okay.
I love that. So what's THI stand for?
True Home Investments. It actually started out as our rental business. We own some rental properties over in Pickaway County. When I left my job 5 years ago, kind of on a...
That's scary.
With no clients, no anything. Well, we were going to... I had just read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you guys have read that one.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, love it. And man, it changed my vision of what a job or what all those things could mean, what a lifestyle could mean. And so we just literally attacked it. I gave my employer like 6 months notice, and I was operations manager at the time. So like I was in control of quite a few things. I didn't want to leave them stranded. I also didn't want to leave myself stranded because again, didn't have really any experience even. But we were going to buy rental properties and I was going to be the one to fix them all up and move on. Turns out it was a little more difficult to buy rental properties than what we thought. They're just kind of harder to find.
Yes, they are.
You got to find them, you got to fund them, and you got to rehab them. All that takes time, and it all takes money. So in the meantime, what we started doing was just kind of offering services to our community rather than just working on our own properties. And it slowly kind of snowballed into where it is now. And I just, over time, I really found a love for handyman, just offering that service to the community, being a part of the community and building relationships it's changed everything, and now we're just really full force into it. Unfortunately, my real estate business has kind of taken it's just slowed down.
It's
slowed down, yeah. And not that we want to, but it's just how it's been. Handyman's been a lot of fun. So.
Well, and a lot of times what real estate agents get into the business of real estate to buy properties, but then they find they actually like the, helping people buy and sell properties more than the buying and holding and flipping and all that stuff. And then if they do go into that buying and trying to flip, it usually takes them out of the industry for like 6 months. And either they'll decide to do it again or not do it again because they know it's going to take them out of the business. So you do have to focus on it because it is something that takes a lot of time and effort.
Yep.
So, but yeah, doing your handyman business, at least that's been good for you. And it's a family business, huh?
Yep. Me and my wife, my 2 kids, you'll see often. I do have I try to keep up on Instagram and Facebook, and we do have a TikTok now too. But yeah, you'll see my family, you'll see my kids out there. I got 9-year-old twin girls. They'll have screwdrivers in their hand, or they'll be hauling out trash or cleaning stuff up. My wife's involved every day, helping to run the books. Like I said, my brother-in-law just got involved here about 4 or 5 months ago. He left his career after 15 years of building computer training courses online.
Oh, wow. Cool.
A little different.
Yeah, a little different. But he wanted to get away from a desk and said, man, let's just give this a try and see what happens. And so far it's been working out really well. We're having a lot of fun together.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like the name, though, because repairing your home, renovating your home, it's an investment. And people don't realize if you let some of these repairs go by, it starts to snowball, and then it creates more issues, and then all of a sudden the cost to fix something has exponentially gone up. Your home value might be going down, but keeping up with these things keeps your home value up, and if they keep appreciating, it's a great investment.
Yeah, people just don't realize that. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, people don't understand that, sure, you qualified to buy this, $400,000, $500,000 home, but it truly is the biggest investment you'll make. But you still have to maintain that investment, and it just boggles my mind how many people just let it go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's easy to let those things go when you're thinking about that right now expense.
Right.
I think about it all the time where, people are walking around with $1,000 cell phone in their pocket. They got the newest shoes. They didn't have any problem spending that money on those things. But when they consider the area that they live in, and I was talking about it, I think, with you one morning where, you walk in and there's things in your house that just drive you absolutely crazy, right? If they're just out of place, if there's that piece of trim that's not painted right, or there's that rotted fascia board on the outside that just, or that leaking thing that is just, is driving you crazy. But it's a lot easier to just get on Facebook and let the time go by and not mess with that. But boy, it can really add up quickly. And whether you want to sell it now, obviously you can't sell a house that has those type of imperfections. It's really difficult. You can
sell it at a loss.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's going to take forever to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah. But also it's if you're not planning on selling, you're planning on living there. Like, you have to live with that. You know how quickly mold can start to accumulate in your house if you've got a leak under your sink that hasn't been addressed, or how often electrical fires occur, or how often fires occur because people don't clean out the lint traps, or the duct all the way out to the side of the house. I mean, that's like this. I think the second or third most common.
I was going to say the 3 most common house fires are the lint trap, the fans in your bathrooms, the old ones, and then electrical fires, usually around stoves, stuff like that. So those are like the worst things. But it amazes me also how some people live. So there's that.
Some people don't want to make the changes they need to.
Right.
But it's true about fixing, renovating for selling, especially now. The market has changed. We're more of a balanced market.
People don't want to do anything.
People think it's 2 years ago still where you're going to have 10, 20, 30 people knocking down the door. Doesn't matter what the house looks like. Doesn't matter what condition it's in. Someone's going to buy it, and they're going to buy it probably over list price. That's not how it is anymore. You need to have a very presentable home. You need to have the updates. If you're not going to update it, at least needs to be clean and everything needs to be fixed and working properly.
Clean does a whole lot for a property.
Cleaning does a whole lot, but having, like you said, that piece of trim that's, just a little bit off, or the paint, it needs repainted, or, you need to redo some of the exterior if it has wood on the outside, rotted wood. It's all important, and that's why someone like you is so valuable for people who are trying to sell their home. It's a
because,
huge thing.
Like, people will look at that stuff. So, like, a potential buyer will come into the home and they'll look at a project that you may have, tried to do a do-it-yourself project, but you didn't quite get it done. And they'll look at that, and they'll look at the other projects you probably started and didn't get done, and be like, what else did they not do? What else is going on behind the scenes that they didn't do? And it freaks people out. And, just the smallest things you wouldn't think would turn people off from a house, but it will. Because if the next house has everything, tip-top shape and presents itself well, then you're going to lose to that house.
And then what they'll do is
even trim makes a big difference.
It does. And it'll sit for a while. Someone will come in and say, well, this has been sitting. I can get a lower price, so I'm going to lower it down this much. But then I'm going to overestimate how much it's going to cost to repair all this, so I'm going to lower it by that much more.
Well, they don't think they're overestimating.
They don't think they're overestimating.
But, like, when you decide to install flooring yourself and you don't, measure twice, cut once, you just cut it and then it's short and you don't put the quarter round in, and then you start to, get the dirt and the stuff in there. People look at that and they're like, oh my God, I have to replace the whole floor. Just hire Ryan to put in some quarter round.
Or cut it right the first time.
Yes.
Getting it cut around the door jambs is one of my biggest pet peeves. When
oh my
you look
God!
under there,
Yes,
you see
mine
that little
too. The gap.
It's right there in that little quarter inch of a spot. But I know I'm not the only one. I know it's easy for somebody, especially when you're living in the house. It's easy to overlook things. But when you go to sell that house, that's the first thing people will see. A lot of people are.
They will see your imperfections.
Yeah, but they're going to see that, and then as soon as they see that, they're going to start looking around for more stuff.
Yes, and then what else didn't they do? What else did they mess up? And I forget who it was. We did have someone. I'm like, we really need to tattoo on their forehead, measure twice, cut once. Like, everyone should memorize that.
But it's valuable. If you're considering listing your home, first thing you should do is come up with a list of what you think needs done in the home. And
we're really good at those lists as long as you don't get offended by our list.
Correct.
Just know we're not saying it to be mean. We're saying it to help.
You have a real estate agent come out, preferably from our team.
Us, ShannonGrimm.com, as Stanley would normally interject.
We come out, we take a look at the house, we tell you, where the market is currently, what we think the house is worth and what it could be worth, and we come up with a list of what you should do to get it listed, what should be cleaned up, what should be fixed. And it's huge to be able to refer someone like you who can come out and service their needs, or if it's something big and you can't handle it, honestly say, hey,
well, he can do the big projects, it seems.
Oh, I know, but if it's something that's outside of his scope, I should say,
there you go.
He could refer to somebody else. So that's huge. And people don't realize they're going to get the most out of their house in a situation like that.
You got to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to get caught up in what we call the hairy homeowner fixes. And there's a big difference. It's really visible when you walk in, and you can tell when something's been done by a professional, because it's unnoticeable, right? It's like what's the haircut thing? A good haircut, nobody notices.
Right.
But if it's the same with a repair. If you're going to walk in, you see drywall repairs or that piece of quarter round that just didn't get quite cut right, you just look at it and you're like, you installed this yourself, didn't you? Like, I know you were trying to save a buck. It really goes a long way, especially when it comes to resale value. I mean, that $100 or $500 that you could have paid me to come in and make it look really nice goes a long way when it comes to somebody coming through and are going to make an offer for thousands of dollars.
Because people doubt how well the house has been maintained. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is they're not confident that you maintain the house in the way it should have been maintained. So,
well, it could be the difference between one offer and 5 offers.
Or no offers.
Well, yes, of course.
And an offer. So
certain people are going to walk in and immediately be turned off from the house because of something, versus you have a bunch of different offers because everything was done correctly. Obviously, there's, you can get a better price that way, of course.
And we, as a team, we look under the rugs, too. So if you've listed your house and there's a rug in an odd place, we will look under it. I'll move it. Usually there's a reason for the multiple rugs or the odd rugs in the weird locations. It's because someone is trying to hide that do-it-yourself flooring project. It's amazing how many of those I've ran into over the years. Yeah. So it's just crazy. But, I'm glad to know you can do so many different things, and everyone just raves about you and what you do, and you're a great guy, too. So, and it's cute to see, pictures of your girls doing some work, too. You got to teach them early. Teach them to be independent.
I love that.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Especially girls. Teach them to be independent. They can do their own minor repairs.
It's hard. Right now is a difficult time. We want to grow. We want to continue to grow, and it's finding people that want to get into the trades and aren't afraid to get in there and get dirty. Like, I love my job. I enjoy it thoroughly. When I leave the day, I am fully satisfied. I have oftentimes we're helping out an elderly person or a widow or somebody, just anybody in our community who needs help. And when we leave at the end of the day, it almost always feels really good. We want to be able to share that with some of the younger generation. We want to share what we've learned. We want to be able to show them that I'm all for anybody who wants to go to college and get their college education. And if you know what you want to do, go do that. If you don't know what you want to do, you might really enjoy getting into the trades. You might really enjoy
there's a lot of job
the
security
feeling
there.
of fixing your own house. I mean, that's literally how I started my business. I bought a house when I was 22 years old. It was kind of a dump. But I couldn't afford to pay anybody to fix it. So it was just like, we got on YouTube and like, well, I think we can do this drywall repair. If you went back and looked at that today, it would be awful. It'd be that hairy homeowner.
But you made a great investment at 22, though. That's a great investment at 22.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Yeah.
Worked out great. And actually, that's what allowed us to buy the equity that we made off of that first house was what allowed us to buy our first rental property, which is now paying us well. It has worked out really well. And it's opened other doors for us to continue. Some people can afford to just walk in and pay somebody to do all those fixes. We weren't in that position, so we figured it out ourselves. And what we have gained from that is just invaluable. It's been totally invaluable. It's been a lot of fun. I always encourage anybody who knows they need repairs around their house, maybe you should attempt it. Know your limits. Know your limits.
know your limits and have his number handy.
Yes.
When you hit those limits.
Yeah. And if you're not sure where that limit is, call me anyways. Call me anyways, because I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to talk to you about what I will do in the case that you don't want to do it. I'll walk you through exactly how. And if you decide, hey, I'm feeling big today, I'm feeling froggy, I'm going to leap at it. And it happens all the time. I get those calls every day. Leap. I'm not opposed to that. If I can help in any way, I'm happy to do that.
Worst case, Ryan will fix it after your attempt.
Which happens all the time, too.
But thanks for joining us today. Why don't you tell everyone how they can get a hold of you? And he will answer his phone, unlike most contractors, or he'll at least get back to you. So that's the biggest problem today is finding a handyman that'll call back.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I will call you back. There is a 90% chance I'm not going to answer your phone call when you do, because I am either my hands are swinging a hammer or I'm hopefully holding one of my kids' hands walking through the park and we're spending time together. So I don't answer the phone all the time, but I promise I will call you back. You can visit us on our website, www.thihandyman.com, or follow us on Instagram at True Home Investments. Facebook, I think, is at THI Handyman.
Okay.
So that's the best way.
And now TikTok.
And
TikTok.
now TikTok.
Yeah, at True Home Investments.
Okay.
Yep.
And you. Did you give out your phone number?
740-206-9637.
All right. And as always, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, or whatever else there is out there.
Hit that notification bell.
There you go. Yeah. At Shannon Grimm Realtor. Thank you. Have a great day.